Welcome to the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast, the show committed to helping you dismantle the destructive mindset programs keeping you stuck in the proverbial bunker of poor performance so you can get out of your own way and play to your potential. My name is Paul Salter. I'm a high-performance hypnotherapist and mindset coach with 16 years of experience helping thousands of individuals like you get unstuck. This podcast features a collection of solo episodes, conversations with scratch and plus handicap golfers, and master classes with top experts in the performance psychology space. The one goal? To help you make playing to your potential a habit. Welcome back to another episode of the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast. I am your host, Paul Salter, the golf hypnotherapist, and I am so grateful that we each have the pleasure of being joined by Mr. Josh Nichols once more. Josh was kind enough to join me when this podcast was really in its infancy. I believe he's episode number 23, and here he is today, coming back, episode number 84. And if you've been a long-time listener, you absolutely know the show has already seen multiple evolutions. And I'm so grateful Josh was open and, dare I say, excited to chop things up again, joining me back for another phenomenal conversation. And allow me to set the tone, because this conversation is perhaps going to take a different turn than you might have expected, because we're really digging deep into discussing the emotional toll, the psychological toll that golf can take on you when you have mismanaged expectations. Inevitably, this collective feeling, perhaps better known as golf burnout, being far more rampant than you think. Josh is kind enough to share more about his previous competitive experience, how his evolution and relationship with golf burnout evolved over time, and ultimately him and I have a very candid discussion about the value of coaching and what it takes to avoid this sensation and experience altogether. But if you do find yourself stuck in kind of this plateau of golf burnout, what you can do to get out. So without further ado, help me welcome Josh to the show. Josh, it is so good to see you, my friend. How are you today?
Man, I am good, Paul. It's been too long. I am so happy to be here, man.
Yeah, so glad we get to do this again. We get to run it back and really build off of such a phenomenal conversation from, we were talking almost a year ago, it seems like, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So for those of you listening, it's episode 23 where Josh and I go deep. We talk a lot more about his playing experience, his journey getting so close to the Masters, which is really funny timing because as Josh and I record this, it is literally Masters week. But that's a phenomenal episode to go back and listen to, because if you're serious and committed to your goal of becoming the best golfer you can be, Josh shares so many nuggets of insight. And I know you're going to do the same today. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, man, I'm excited.
Yeah, so I wanted to start here today because I don't think I did a good enough job really extracting this information from you on our previous call. But I want to really learn first and foremost, like, what originally drew you to the psychology of golf, and how perhaps did your own competitive experiences play a role in shaping your overarching coaching philosophy today?
Yeah, the intersection of my playing career and interest in the mental game, the psychology of golf, was at the peak of my golf game. So when I made a good run in the U.S. Mid-Am, it was during that same week that I decided this isn't for me. I don't want like mini tour golf, grinding, staying in hotels. It's just not for me. In that tournament, I had to go night to night on hotels. I never knew where I was going to stay. There was one night where I thought I was going to have to sleep in my car. My mom figured it out, but got me a room at the time. And so it was just like, I don't want this part of it. I don't want the kind of back end grind. But I love competitive golf. But the way that tournament showed me, despite being at the height of my golf career, and I don't want to pursue this furthermore, then that told me, okay, I'm in a good place. Like where I have gotten mentally to be able to let this game go, let my dream from the time I was a little kid go. I knew, okay, I have matured and I have learned a lot about the mental game over that last year of really hard work leading up to that tournament, working with my instructor. The way that we went about things, the growth I had of acceptance, letting go of things, detaching myself from results, focusing on process, all of those things led him to encourage me, okay, you would be good at this. I think you could help players be good at this. And to get to turn around and help golfers with what I was helped with and what I enjoy is cool. So it was like at the height of my golf game was when I decided, okay, let's shift gears into coaching.
That's really interesting. Like what comes to mind for me is there's this book out there, maybe you've read it. It's called The Dip. It's called The Strategic Art of When to Quit and When to Give Up. And
I've heard of it.
Okay, it's a great book. It's like 84 pages, really short read. I will link it in the show notes below. But what's interesting is essentially the author kind of lays out a 3-part framework for decision making about, when you're quitting prematurely, when you've stuck it out too long, and when is, the air quotes I'm using, right time to quit. I'm curious, the last 12 months of your competitive playing career, were there signs, were there whispers, and how did you find yourself in a place where if there were, you were finally willing to listen to them and accept them?
Yeah, the loudest whisper, I know that's a funny way to say that, but the loudest whisper was I met my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife. I met her, it was July of that year we met, and October was when I made the run in the US Mid-Am. So 3 or 4 months right before that tournament, she came into my life and it just kind of blew up my view of importance of golf and my priorities dramatically balanced out. And I wouldn't say they shifted. Because I still only golf is what I care about, right? That is what I do. And she just helped me realize there are more pieces to the pie, right? You don't have to have a complete 360-degree pie of just golf. And in fact, when you add in other pieces to that pie, it makes the golf part better. So that whisper of, you don't need to only focus on this. And in fact, by only focusing on this, you're death gripping it to out of commission to where I couldn't even perform. So she allowed me to let go of golf. And by letting go, I actually started accessing my skill. But it's funny how that works. As you let go, you're more okay to let the game go while you're playing better. And I would imagine a lot of, mini tour players who don't quite make it, as soon as they kind of set it aside and maybe they start working at the clubhouse or something, they probably start playing really, really good, right? Because they kind of relax the death grip and realize, okay, golf isn't everything. Oh, wait, I'm still good. I'm just relaxed now. So that was a huge whisper in my life.
That's awesome. And I asked that question with such intention because for everybody listening, first, like Josh hit the nail on the head. Many of you listening are guilty of just pushing, forcing, pressing. And just as Josh alluded to, the moment you let go of control, trying to have the results you're seeking occur yesterday, you actually gain more control because you free yourself up from the burden, the expectation, the pressure you've put on yourself. But what's also really important to listen to, and I highly recommend you go back and rewind the last couple of minutes, is everything Josh shared applies outside and away from the golf course as well. It's the decisions in important relationships in your life. Something I've learned, and I think Josh would agree, and you listening would agree, is, as we get older, inevitably we have fewer people in our life. And that's for many, many reasons. But I believe it's a superpower when you recognize you have the ability to edit or eliminate certain people from your life to protect your time, your energy, and peace. And the way Josh described how he zoomed out and he got to see the full pie when it wasn't just a golf pie. There are other things in his life. And when he gave more energy to other areas of his life in which he could be fulfilled and help others, it actually gave back to him. So cool.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better. And it was funny. I guess in a way, mine was the reverse of, I didn't remove people. I added one important person.
Right? Yeah.
Right. I kind of just went from 1 to 2, and because it was just me. Right. I didn't have I had golf friends at the club that we would compete, but I didn't go hang out, do much of that because it was just golf. That's all I care about. Any friendship was getting in the way of my golf game. So allowing someone into my life helped me balance things out. So and I don't, let me ask you, how do you think that could apply to, if we're talking golf specifically, how do you think it could apply to the regular amateur golfer or whatever sport we're discussing? Or how do you think that could apply to the normal run-of-the-mill golfer?
Yeah, it's a great question. And first, we can't go any further without giving a big shout out to your wife. I mean, come on, big shout out to her.
Yes.
I think 2 things come to mind. Number one, there's the cliche, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And as cliche as it is, it's incredibly true. It's incredibly powerful when you realize the power within that sentiment, because who you spend your time sharing energy with is a reflection of you. You get their energy. If you hang out with people who are not committed or serious about achieving any goal that's noteworthy, guess what? It has a negative impact on you. What I think stands out even more from your question, though, is you reached a point, and you can speak to this more than I can, where you recognize there was going to be benefit in being vulnerable, having uncomfortable conversations. I imagine there was a whisper in your mind at some point that created awareness, I can't keep going at this thing called life alone. I need somebody, maybe even I really desire a life partner. So I hear from you, you found the courage to open up, be vulnerable. This is who I am. You found a beautiful, wonderful, loving life partner. For the amateur golfer listening, it's probably in the form of a coach. It could also be in the form of your personal life. If you are stuck, relationship hopping one to the next, you have a broken relationship with your children, your spouse, or your parents, that does bleed into the golf course. No matter how much you don't want to or don't want to accept, it does.
Yeah, no, you're nailing it. Something I say a lot in my sessions, one-on-one sessions with clients, is because they'll bring up, man, I struggle with this in life just the same as I do in golf. Golf just brings it out of me. And I often say, well, we're not working on your golf psychology necessarily. We're working on you and your psychology, right? Which applies to golf, which applies to your relationships, which applies to your work, which applies to yada, yada, yada. So yeah, if you can work on yourself, it affects everything else. And adding my wife was a huge work on myself, which added to my golf.
So well said. I love that. And for those of you listening, again, if you heard it from me, now you're hearing it from Josh, the work you do on your mindset or on yourself has a positive ripple effect on every area of your life. It should be a priority. And it's not just me saying, go get a coach. It's hey, it's the intentional periods of stillness, silence, solitude, reflection that will teach you so much about yourself.
That's right. I love it.
Yeah. So now I'm interested in where I want to go with this is those last 12 months. At that point you've got almost 2 decades of competitive play under your belt. So I've really, as I prepped for this call, the theme I've seen on some of your past podcasts and social is golf burnout. And here we are talking about all things golf and how to be a better player, a better version of you. But I know golf burnout is real. And I'm curious to hear from you through 2 lenses. One, did you ever experience golf burnout? And maybe before that, we start, how would you define golf burnout?
Yeah, burnout, in my experience, what I've learned, what I've heard other people say, is repeatedly not meeting the expectation that you set for yourself. So if you show up and you expect to shoot a 69 and that's your standard and you never get it. You show up, never get it. Or maybe on a more longer scale, every time you go to the range, you expect to feel much better about your game. Like, I need to be hitting it good today. And you don't, and you don't, and you don't. And that spirals because you grip it stronger, maybe physically, literally stronger, but you're death gripping the game to try to make yourself improve right now, which makes you worse and makes you more frustrated, and it snowballs on itself. And before you know it, you just don't like the game, right? Your relationship with with being at the golf course is now misery. So why would I go do that, right? So then you're burnt out. Yeah, and I absolutely experienced that because the thing that my wife, then girlfriend, allowed me to open my eyes from was that death grip on results. So I needed to get better now. And mine manifested in trying to perfect my golf swing, like what it looked like on camera. I wasn't working with an instructor from the time I was 18 to when I was 26. I went 8 years without a golf coach trying to be a professional golfer. That's insane. So there's extremely few rare people that can do that, and I certainly was not one of them. So I was just like my iPhone was my coach, and I'm trying to perfect my swing. I'm comparing it to Tiger and Rory, and every day I don't look like them, or even if I kind of do and I still chop at the ball and don't hit it good, I'm just frustrated every single day, frustrated. And that I was too blind to say, okay, maybe there's something wrong with my process here. And instead I death gripped it harder. Okay, well, I'm going to hit more golf balls. I'm just not working hard enough, right? Tiger was a crazy hard worker. I need to work even harder, right? So that death grip caused me to play worse and get more frustrated and death grip it more. So I got burnout. I would go in these crazy waves of like super motivation, crash into burnout, super motivation, crash into burnout. And turns out there's, things I've addressed in therapy now that were going on then too. So it wasn't all just golf relationship, but that was a massive part of it because it was my entire life. And I, when it wasn't going well, that means I wasn't good as a person. So that was absolutely a big part of my life was golf burnout.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you opening up and sharing that. I'm curious during those times. I mean, obviously we can say it now, like, oh, I should have had a different process. I should have done X, Y, and Z. And for those of you who want me to say hindsight's 2020, like, okay, that's a great cliche, but I'm also wise enough to know hindsight is a cruel son of a bitch. Because guess what? If you knew what you knew now, you would be doing it. And I'll give all the credit in the world to my mentor who has taught me that. Because, yeah, I'm guilty of being overly critical on myself. Like, damn, if I knew all I knew now, I'd done so many things differently with my life. I'm curious, Josh, like in that process, one of, if not all of those 8 years without a coach, was there a whisper that you knew you should have had a coach or change things? And if so, why did you ignore it?
Man, that's a great question that I don't know that I've thought much about of, was I ignoring some sort of writing on the wall? And if I was, I was so ignorant to it. I was so, had a wall blocking my view from it because it finally took kind of a fellow competitor that plays also in North Carolina here. We got to texting and he kind of just laid it out for me. He's an extremely blunt, honest guy, but he was saying, dude, you're not doing it right. Like you're playing this little rinky dink golf course. You don't work with a coach. You don't play with other good players. You play with the old guys at the club. You need to address all three of these things. And he just called me out, and I I'm thinking, okay, that's going to cost money. That's going to cost money. That's going to cost money. And it's something I didn't really have. But when I stopped to think, yeah, I'm not doing this right. It took a slap across the face, basically. It wasn't like a little whisper, I should, maybe I should, maybe I should, maybe I should. It was just like dude, you're not going to get anywhere by doing this. And I wasn't. I was spinning my wheels. So if there were whispers, I was too prideful probably to recognize them until this guy, because it was pride and ego. When he said those things to me, it like hurt, right? Because it's like, you're attacking me because this has been my process that I have built myself. And you're saying my own process is bad. That means you're attacking me personally. So that was a really hard slap across the face, but extremely necessary. And he wasn't a great friend. He wasn't like a nice guy that I wanted to spend time with, but I'm so thankful for those texts that he sent me.
And I'm glad I asked that question because I had a hunch because, and I'll generalize here, but we men are stubborn as fuck. We don't want to ask for help. We see it as a sign of weakness. And I had a hunch there was some pride and ego there because I'm incredibly guilty of it. And for those of you listening, like, it's redundant, but like asking for help accelerates results. Just like Josh said, he had blind spots he couldn't see. He was fixated on the wrong processes. No one, I imagine, would ever question your work ethic. I mean, off air, you've told me stories of your 8-hour days on the course every day. The work ethic's there, but if it's not directed in the right direction and there's not an element of ruthless reflection to ensure you haven't gotten off track, guess what? You remain stuck spinning your wheels.
Yeah, I didn't have the feedback. I didn't have the expert, the second pair of eyes and the second pair of ears to bounce things off of, to draw things out of me, to encourage me. Hey, Josh, I want you to be journaling after every round. I want you to send me the good things you did today. Yeah. Because I never recognized the good things that I was doing. I'm not, my swing isn't perfect and I'm not hitting the ball flush. So everything is wrong. And I just wasn't seeing, look how much good stuff you've been doing. He drew that out of me. My coach drew that out of me.
Yeah.
And he just like focused my effort towards, okay, you're doing all of this. Forget all that. This is what you should be doing. This, spending time doing this, this, and this. And let's just put that on repeat over and over and over and over again. So that I needed that. And I think everybody does, whether it's golf or whatever endeavor you're in. Yeah. I mean, I've recently been talking to a business coach because I find myself doing rewriting the same exact history with my business of, I got this, I'm doing this alone. And I'm metaphorically speaking, trying to perfect my golf swing when that is absolutely not the right process. So I've been talking to a guy like that and trying to hire out different things that I am stubborn that I think I should be able to do. So it's something that I have to constantly work on. And I imagine all of us do.
We absolutely do. And I love how you said it's the benefit of extra eyes, extra ears. Yep. And I think one of the underlying benefits too is I always come back to like life is a game of energy management. Emotions are literally just energy in motion. So for you to find a trusted, respected, credible coach, to build that relationship, when you can put your trust into his or her hands, you immediately free up energy because now you don't have to think about what to do or how to do it. You get a blueprint, and that in and of itself gives you energy to finally follow through on everything you knew you probably should have been doing all along. Now you're stuck in a positive upward cycle, and life is a hell of a lot better to be stuck there.
Yeah, and you can trust. I know that what I'm doing will work instead of I hope what I'm doing will work. And I don't even know what I should be doing. So you're just guessing every single day. I guess I'll just hit a bunch of range balls and hope that a game magically emerges. Instead, it's, okay, there's a whole swath of things that you need to be working on, and very few of them are what you have been doing. So this, he'd been in the golf, he still is in the golf business for 3 or 4 decades. So he has all this experience with all these really great players who have won tournaments that I aspired to play well in. So I just knew, okay, whatever he says is going to work. So I did this kind of mental throw in the towel, give up my own control sort of feeling of like, you know what, you tell me what to do, I'll just do it. Like, I don't care about results. You just tell me what to do and I will follow it day by day by day, and I'll do it longer than anybody else. And, you know, the length of time, you mentioned the 8-hour days, that's not as relatable anymore as just the quality and the focus and the feedback and the second pair of eyes and ears that we all need still, so that we can have quality, even if our quantity is not as much as we'd like. We can still have that quality.
Well said. And I'm curious for everybody listening who is on the fence about hiring a coach, and this can be golf, business, life in general, executive coaching. What's the advice you would share with him or her about being proactive in that decision versus reactive after hitting rock bottom?
Man, I am the wrong person to ask, but I don't know. On that same token, I am a good person to ask because I've been on the wrong side of it and I've been on the right side of it. And I am a coach that I think people should start with before they think they need to start with me. So it would be look at your goals, look where you want to be, and imagine, okay, how am I going to get there? Well, it's this, this, and this. Are you sure? Do you actually know that is the most efficient way to get there? Well, I guess I don't know. Well, there is this person who you could hire who does know, who does this for a living, and save yourself the heartache and the time to make this up as you go. Instead, this person already has a system that can help you, and just the relief that you'll feel will free you up to do your work well. So not only does it make your timeline shorter, it makes you better at what you do on that shorter timeline. So you kind of 2x your ability and you 0.5 the time, it feels like.
Yeah, I love that. Really well said.
Yeah.
2x your ability and 0.5 half your timeline. That's cool. I like that. Yeah. And I've said this before, like, most of my clients, I can't put a number on it, but I would say more than half, they come to me and I am their last resort. Hypnosis still carries some unique connotations and misunderstandings, which I've talked at great length here on the show. But it's like, I'm a last resort. You're saying like, yeah, you have a similar experience. And it's like, inevitably these relationships build with my clients, and I imagine for you too, and they're like, damn, I wish I started sooner.
Yes.
And like, that's the prevailing theme. So if you're on the fence, again, it might be golf specific, golf mindset coaching, life, executive coaching. The best, most successful people in the world, every niche and industry, have a coach, period.
Yeah. That's probably the selling point is if they are doing it to go from a 70.1 average to a 70.05 average, which makes a dramatic effect on their entire year.
Yeah.
And they're doing that to make that small of a difference. Imagine how big of a difference it could make for you to go from 90 to 85 and to shave the strokes on your game that you're just kind of giving away because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So, and that's golf specific. With business, I'm realizing so many, every conversation I realize I'm giving a quote unquote, giving away strokes with my business. And I wish I had started it sooner, right? It's the inevitable sentence. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. Now, speaking of, we've brought it up a couple times. You're like, we're going to call them infamous now, jokingly, but 8-hour range sessions, day after day, 24/7, 365. How would you define mental toughness specific to on the course?
Mental toughness would be anything can happen and I'll be okay. I can encounter any difficulty and I believe in my ability to bounce back. And even if then the round never gets back on the rails, I can stay steady. Golf goes up and down, up and down, up and down. Some days it's really down, some days it's really up. No matter what, I stay consistent to my process. That's mental toughness, is not being driven by your emotions. It's staying neutral when everything around you is chaos.
I like that. What separates mentally tough players from the rest?
Probably like a mindfulness, like a self-awareness of I can tell that my emotions are trying to pull me away. I can tell that bad golf shot makes me want to try harder on the next one, or in a bad way, and try to death grip this round and try to steer it back in, or, stay stubborn to the golf shot I'm trying to hit rather than play with the shot shape that I have currently. A mentally tough player will be able to stop, pause, and look around and recognize, okay, not how do I wish things were, how are things currently? See things as they are. And they can accept reality rather than fight it the whole time. So a mentally tough person is able to see their own kind of emotional roller coaster trying to happen, and they can say, okay, that does not need to happen.
Yeah.
I am fine. I'm grounded. There's no threat here. And I'm able to proceed with my fundamentals, the stuff that I know works.
I really like that. It's almost as if, and I'm going to obviously simplify.
Sure.
But there's this you're framing and seeing things through a lens of non-judgmental objectivity. Like, this is just simply what it is. And in a black and white nature, it's like you've drained the color or the emotion out of the situation. I did shank my last shot.
Yes.
Okay, that happened. Yes. And I have a chance to hit a great shot ahead.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. It's acceptance of reality. It's not, and this is what people think, I think people think this about a mentally tough player is blind optimism. They forget all of their shots. They pretend that the past doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. And that's, that is a losing battle, to try to forget the past. Rather accept the past, see it. And I did a recording with a guy just this morning, an author, and he said, that's who I was, but it's not who I am now, or it doesn't have to be who I will be.
Like that.
Right? So it's like, yeah, that's who I was. That happened. Okay. Now what do I got to do?
Love that. Really, really like that. So from there, one of the skills I imagine that's developed out of being able to let go of the past, accept them for they are, and focus, I literally said the word, and move forward, is the ability to focus.
Yes.
In your experience, both as a player and as a coach of so many great athletes, why is focus such a struggle during a round of golf?
Yeah, the golf is a long time out there, right? It's just the brain struggles to maintain attention that long, and our attention span is shorter and shorter the way we train it these days. So a round of golf is slow. It's not like full of flashy dopamine hits. And if you're playing poorly, it's a real grind to, man, I'm not getting anything. Like, I'm giving everything to this round of golf and I'm not getting anything back. So it drains the focus. So golf being this highly emotional thing, because it's on you to play well. And when it's not going well, that's really frustrating. So it can draw you back to the past or into the future really easily. Golf just has this way of draining you and punching you while you're not having much energy at the same time. So it's hard to get back on the rails focus wise.
Yeah. And actually you made me think of a great point. I love that. And to complement what you shared, I loved what you said. Like, we get drawn into the past, into the future, whether we're looking ahead of 14 and 15 or birdie holes, or I just completely blew up 6, 7, and 8. Those are both avoidance mechanisms deployed by your subconscious mind, because golf is such a unique, slow paced sport. So many of us are hardwired to go, go, go. The thought of being, even though we're human beings, not human doings, is so mightily uncomfortable that our mind does drift back and forth. And you alluded to it in the beginning of our conversation. A mindfulness practice is so powerful with such transferability on and off the course. I'm curious for you, what does your own mindfulness practice look like?
Yeah, I attempt every morning to do a 5-minute formal sit down, focus on my breath, let my mind wanders away with my thoughts, bring it back to my breath. Just that kind of simple thing for 5 minutes. I like doing that. I do a kind of a reading, quiet time every morning where I'm kind of meditating on what I'm reading, and that allows me to ground myself before I start the day. But I think way more important than that is approaching everything you do intentionally, right? Where maybe it's like, and I heard this somewhere, of every time you walk through a doorway, it's like a trigger for you to, I'm here for this. Like, I'm not in that other room anymore. I'm here, right? It's like a trigger, the doorway. And a walking awareness, a walking mindfulness, rather than, sure, you do the thing every morning. That's cool. That's like, it's good to go to the gym, right? But when you get out to the golf course, how do you, your strength is important, but you got to play the game now. And in life, it's great that you do your mindfulness practice, but if you just kind of leave it on your couch and you go through your day frustrated and angry and getting caught up in all this, then that's not a whole bunch of use. So it takes that intentional walking mindfulness throughout the day, checking in with yourself, staying mindful, and back to the what makes a mentally tough, what separates the mentally tough from the mentally weak or mentally less tough, is that mindfulness, that kind of running. I can tell how I'm feeling, and I can see myself wanting to get away, and I'm not going to let it. I'm bringing it back. So it's that constant intention and mindfulness throughout the day.
Love that. And for those of you listening, first, take note. Josh said 5 minutes a day. He doesn't do this 60-minute meditation breathwork ritual. It's 5 minutes.
I've got a child. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, exactly. And now I'm experiencing that life. I have zero time. Still stuck in the culture shock of this.
Yes.
But one thing I can't recommend enough, and actually Scott Fawcett Scott spoke very highly of it on episode 68-ish. Don't quote me on that, but it's around there, is the app Waking Up. It has a 28-day phenomenal introduction to meditation 101, if you will. And the founder, creator, Sam Harris, I've done a lot of meditation apps and training, but he's just got a unique way of explaining some of these maybe perceived to be woo-woo concepts into very digestible, easy to apply lessons. Can't recommend that enough.
Yeah, I've dabbled in that one. And I a long time ago, I used to use the Calm app. That's one of the popular ones. And the checking in, put the app on your home screen to remind you throughout the day. Maybe you do it a couple times throughout the day, but it's just a reminder, okay, this is a priority in my life, and I take this seriously because I like how it helps me be, and it helps me perform better. So yeah, Waking Up is a great app for it. And for those listening, that is a great place to start, but don't even be intimidated by needing anything. You can just sit, right? That's kind of the skill, is being able to sit without needing any stimulation, and being able to go through the day, staying present without letting yourself be hooked and pulled along.
Really well said. I'm glad you shared that. And I feel I keep sharing this quote on, like, it seems the last 10 episodes I've recorded, I'm going to do it again. But the voice of your subconscious mind, your highest self, your intuition, if you will, is silence. When you learn to sit, you can connect like never before.
That's good. Yeah.
Right? That changed my whole thinking on just this identity transformation work that we both do. It's fascinating.
Yeah, because I tend to think my mind is noisy. There's so much going on in my life, and I can never make things quiet. But that's because I'm letting things in my life pull me along with them. Truly, if I just sit, there is, sure, my mind has thoughts, but truly if I come back to neutral, it's quiet. And that returning to that place is very grounded, great foundational place to start anything you do from.
Yeah. I mean, that's the gateway to the flow state, the hypnotic state, where you're at ease and you're just so clear and connected with yourself and your surroundings.
That's right.
Yeah. So by the time this episode comes out, everybody listening will be well into tournament season, member guests underway across the country. Let's talk specific to our single digit handicap listeners. In all your coaching experience, what are the most common 2, maybe 3 mental mistakes they are making in tournament rounds?
That's a good one. I think single digit handicappers, they probably still get a little too aggressive with approach shots and a little too conservative off the tee, where the closer you get to the hole, the better your proximity will be from that approach distance, right? So 80 yards might seem like an awkward distance, but you're going to be better from 80 yards than you are from 100 yards. So just because it's wider there does not mean you have to hit 3-wood. You can hit driver in the rough. It's okay. The rough is not poison, right? It's not a hazard. Even a fairway bunker it's okay. So sure, it's, and you talk to Scott Fawcett, this is where I'm grabbing all of this stuff from, but the way he talks about it is, okay, sure, a bunker is, will hurt your stroke average from the bunker, but the fairway is an option too. So overall, the math says, okay, hit driver, right? Send it as far down there as you can most of the time. And then when you're going into the green, pretend the flag's not there, right? This thing sticking out of the ground is tempting to aim at. It seems like a target that you're supposed to hit at. I catch myself all the time. I'm a plus 0.8 as of today, and I have no business aiming at flags. Like, it's just, I'm not that good. So a 0 to 10 is certainly not good enough to aim at a flag and expect good results every time. So course strategy is still a big one that separates. I mean, you see Scotty Scheffler, he plays to the fat side of every hole, and he's the best iron player in a long time. So course strategy is still a low hanging fruit. Mental mistakes, I don't know. Let me bounce it back to you, because nothing comes to mind. What do you think is kind of separates an 8 handicap from a scratch player?
What came to mind to me is putting too much pressure on how you score on the first hole and giving it the power to set the tone for the rest of the round. I can't tell you how many conversations I have with my competitors. They're like, well, I started with a bogey and I just couldn't recover. And I'm like, have you never had a good round with a bogey before? I mean, Jesus, come on. Like, you got it. So there's an opportunity for mentally bouncing back. But too many people in that single digit range that I speak to and work with, they put so much pressure. Like, if I don't birdie the first hole, or if I'm not 1 under after 3, it's a lost cause. And I'm like, okay, we need a reality check, and we need to take a 30,000 foot view and look at the 18 holes you're going to play.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I have to start well. And okay, what rule says you have to hit the first fairway? What rule says you have to start with a par? You have to get off to a good start. You have to ease in. I hear this all the time. I just need to ease into the round, right? So one, you're probably limiting yourself from starting out firing. Like, let's go, right? Competing from the first tee shot. You're limiting yourself from that. But also, okay, if your goal is to just ease in and you bogey 2 of the first 3 holes, that's not easing in. So now you're wrecked on the other side. So yes, creating some sort of expectation in how it needs to start is certainly a common thing. And just the word need, right? Yeah. I need this. I need this. I need to shoot this. I need to hit this well. I need to get this close. Anytime you have that word need, means that you're afraid of it not happening, right? There's always fear behind that word need. And that's a common one. And I work with players from, plus handicaps all the way to 30. So I hear that across the whole spectrum, is you feeling like you need something that you don't in fact need.
And for those of you listening, Josh just demonstrated an incredible intangible of a great coach picking up on that word choice. That's exactly where my mind went. It's like, I need to, I have to. And many people totally overlook that. But Josh just nailed it. When there's this need, you create pressure, you create expectation. And I feel one of the prevalent themes or threads of this entire conversation has been just mismanaged expectations, being incongruent with reality, inviting in room for frustration, anger, and disappointment, ultimately zapping your energy and crushing your results.
Yeah, that's right. It leads to burnout. It leads to lack of focus. It leads to bad starts, death gripping, overall frustration with the game. That's a tough one.
It is. So let me get you out of here on this. There's a billboard in the middle of a golf course, seen by everybody on all 18 holes. What are you writing on that billboard?
See things as they are. I think that's what I'm writing, because I mean, who doesn't spend an entire round wishing things were different, or hoping things will be different, or if I can just get this going, if I could just hit a good shot. Well, how are things? Where are you right now? What do you have to do right now? Yeah, seeing things as they are is a big one. That needs to just be on a billboard everywhere. Yeah, not just a golf course.
I like that a lot. See things as they are. Dude, always a blast chatting up with you. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this again.
Yeah, man, Paul, I love conversations with you. You're always on fire. You bring the heat. So good questions as always.
I appreciate that. Where do you want to remind people to go to connect with you, to learn from you, and most importantly, to go work with you so they can play to their potential?
Yeah. So if a good introduction to me would be the Mental Golf Show. I do a lot of interviews just like Paul does. We're right in the same vein of stuff. So if you like Paul's podcast, you probably like mine. And Paul's better because he has a wider breadth of good stuff. Mine is golf specific niche. So if you want golf, like a crazy golf nut, mental game person, come on over there after you're done listening to Paul's. So Mental Golf Show is a great entry point. My website, you can find everything about me, joshnicholsgolf.com. That's a great launching point too.
Awesome. And all that will be linked below. And for those of you listening, again, see things as they are. Josh, absolute pleasure. Thanks, dude.
Loved it, Paul. Thank you.
You bet. For those of you listening, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode. I know without a doubt you found immense value in today's conversation. You picked up so many nuggets. So go back and listen to it again. Take notes, review your notes, and share it with a fellow playing partner to help him or her also play to their potential so you can both continue to become the best version of yourselves. And if you haven't done so already, it takes 30 seconds to leave a genuine rating and review to support the show, to help this continue growing so I can bring on phenomenal guests like Josh every other week here on the show. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your week. Hit them straight this weekend, and we'll catch you in the next episode.